Welcome to another episode of Blue Haze Dreamers. Today I will be talking about the Eastern Conference Finals and the NBA and who I think will come out and make it to the NBA Finals. But first, let's get into who are actually going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. So we have the Boston Celtics, who defeated the Toronto Raptors in Game 7, which was just a few days ago. Now, I did not think that the Raptors would force the Celtics to Game 7. I thought the Celtics would especially take that in 5 or 6 games, 6 games being the most. But then I had to kind of rethink about it and remind myself that the Toronto Raptors were the defending champions. And yes, they did lose Kawhi and Danny Green, but they're still the defending champions. And they fought all the way to Game 7, and unfortunately, Kyle Lowry fouled out at the end of the game, and they really lost their leader on the floor. I know you have Siakam and you have some other players that are definitely your players to help step up and be leaders on the team as well, but Kyle Lowry has been that veteran experience and been on the Raptors for a very long time. So it's very sad to see when people foul out and things like that, because it does play a huge role at the end of the game. And then let's talk about the second team in the Eastern Conference Finals, which would be the Miami Heat. Now, a lot of people would not expect Miami Heat to be in the Eastern Conference Finals or to be in this position at all, to be honest, because they had to go through the Indiana Pacers first round, swept them 4-0, very sad to see, and then they went and faced the Milwaukee Bucks, and they beat them 4-1, which was kind of crazy, kind of insane. They took their first loss to the Milwaukee Bucks, and I really thought the Milwaukee Bucks were, on paper, statistically, they were going to beat them, but unfortunately that did not happen, and the Miami Heat just played like the team that they have all season long and were able to win that series. And they haven't played a few games. They haven't played a game in a few days. And hopefully that doesn't make them too rusty or anything like that. They do play tomorrow, actually, at 6:40. And so that's very exciting to see. But let's go ahead and jump right into it. And I'm going to give you my predictions on who I think are going to win the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, I could just tell you who I think is going to win, but I'm going to break it down a little bit and then give you my decision. So, to end the season, since Corona and everything, they didn't get to play all the games, but they did get to play 8 games in the bubble, and it was really awesome to see that they finished out a few games before going into the playoffs directly. And so the Boston Celtics finished with a record of 48-24. And then the Miami Heat finished with a record of 44-29. So not too far off. Miami just, kind of 4 games back. They lost 5 more games. Then the Celtics at home. The Miami Heat actually played better. They were 29-7, and the Celtics were 26-10. On the road, the Celtics are better, 22-14, and the Miami Heat at 15-22. But unfortunately, this has, for the Celtics, kind of not helped them as much. Being in the bubble, I feel like you're not really at home and you're not really away. You're just kind of like basically in like a rec center, and you're playing ball, which is like really cool to see. It's kind of different, new format this year for sure. But Miami has definitely been taken off, and especially being, only losing 1 game and being in the playoffs, that's extremely huge. And just knowing that they're winning, and right now it's a winning culture, and Jimmy G is getting some buckets. To move on to the next point, so they played 3 regular season games, and the first game was on December 4th, and the winner of that game was Boston, and they won 112-93 with Jaylen Brown having 31 points and Jimmy Butler having 37 points in that loss. And then January 28th they faced again, and Boston won again, and they won 109-101. Gordon Hayward had 29 points, and Dragic had 23 points. And then finally, in the third matchup of the season. The Miami actually won 112 to 106 when Adebayo and Robertson had 21 points each, and Jason Tatum had 23 points in that loss. So they only faced 3 times during the regular season. They would have faced a 4th time, but due to Corona, they did not. So Miami could have probably evened the series 2-2. But now that doesn't matter because now we're in the playoffs and anything can happen. Miami could come out and sweep them. The Celtics could, just go back and forth. Anything like that. So it's really exciting to see just because the Boston Celtics they have better players, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're better. So for example, the Boston Celtics have Kemba Walker, a huge addition this year. They have Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Enes Kanter, Gordon Hayward, Marcus Smart, and just a few other players to just name a few there. But those are more like their big name players who really make an impact and who are going to be amazing in the NBA and just continue to get better. And then with the Miami Heat, you have Jimmy Butler who went there. You have Bam, Kelly Olynyk, Duncan Robinson, Dragic, Tyler Hero, Andre Iguodala, James Crowder. And so just to really see all those pieces come together and really work this season, and then especially coming into the playoffs and then having the record that they do and already being in the Eastern Conference Finals and beating the Bucks dominantly the way they did was something that a lot of people didn't expect, something that I didn't expect. I did think Miami was a dark horse to go all the way this year just because of the way they've been playing, and they're underdogs and they're hustle, and they're going to do whatever they can do to get a win, and you see that every time they are out on the floor. So just to give some couple stats going head-to-head, Jason Tatum leads all scorers on the Celtics at 23.4, Jimmy Butler at 19.9, so about 20 points per game. Rebounds is Kanter with about 7, Bam with about 10, and then assists is Marcus Smart with about 5, Jimmy Butler with 6, steals Marcus Smart with 2, Jimmy Butler with about 2. Blocks would be Daniel Theis with about 1.5, and Bam with about 1.5 as well. And then field goal percentage is Gordon Hayward at 50, Bam at 55. Free throw would be Brad Wanamaker at 92%, and then Jimmy Butler at 83%. And then three-point field goal percentage is Jason Tatum at 40%, and then Duncan Robinson at 44%. So as I just went over those stats, they were not even, but some places they were even. Some, they were a little bit more or a little bit less. But it's just crazy to think that these are the 2 teams in the Eastern Conference Finals, and it's going to be a great Eastern Conference Finals. Who knows? It could go to 7 games. I'm very excited to see that for sure. And then with the offensive stats and defensive stats, I'll give you one more stats before I give my prediction. The Celtics are scoring about 1 more point than the Miami, 113 to 112. Rebounds with the Celtics, 46 to 44. Assists, the Miami lead that with 25 to 23. Steals, the Celtics are a little bit better, 8.26 and then 7.49. And then the blocks, the Celtics with about almost 6, and then Miami with about 5. Field goal percentage, they're about the same, 46. Free throw, a little bit better. The Boston Celtics are shooting a little bit better at the line, which definitely comes down to at the end of the game for sure. And then three-point percentage is Miami with 37.89, and then the Boston Celtics with 36.39. So like I said again, these stats are very similar, almost kind of the same. They're both playing very well, and so it's going to be great to see who's going to come out on top. But then the defensive stats, so the Celtics are averaging 107. They're holding their opponents to 107 points per game. Miami 109. Field goal percentage wise, Boston 44, Miami 44.7. Free throw, kind of about the same, 76, 77, and then 3-point, both about 34, 35. So they're definitely playing great on offense. They're playing great on defense. So this is going to be a great matchup to watch. I can't wait to watch it tomorrow. The game actually starts tomorrow at 6:40, so that's going to be a great game to start out. They probably would have played a little bit later, but the Denver Nuggets forced a Game 7 on the Los Angeles Clippers, and so that series is definitely one for the making. Can the Denver Nuggets win and come back from a 3-1 deficit again, just like they did from the Utah Jazz? We'll definitely have to find out tomorrow at 9 o'clock for sure. But back to the Celtics and the Heat. So Boston is definitely, they seem like the better team. They have more like superstars or all-stars, I guess you could say. But that doesn't really matter because the Heat did take out the reigning Defense Player of the Year, Giannis, and yes, he did kind of get hurt a little bit with his ankle, and so that doesn't help the Bucks' chances at all. But basketball is a team sport. You can't just win with one player, and we've really learned that over the years. And so my prediction for this would have to be the Boston Celtics in 6 games. And I think the Boston Celtics have to put their pedal to the metal the whole entire time. If they do let up, I can see this going to 7 games because Miami will capitalize on your mistakes. They are a hard-fought team. They're going to dig down. They're going to get under your skin, and they're really going to try and win every single game possible. They're going to do what they have to do. But if the Boston Celtics play the game they know how to, I can definitely see this going to 6 games. They both have great coaches with Brad Stevens, and I can't think of the coach's name on the Miami Heat, but he's a great coach as well. And so it's definitely going to come down to who plays better defense, who's going to take the correct shots, who's not just going to jack up shots and like that. So I'm very excited to see. Where this will go. If Miami Heat does win this series, I would not be surprised, but my prediction is on the Boston Celtics, and I think they will make the finals this year, and it's going to be fun to watch. And I hope you guys have been watching the playoffs this year. I hope you guys have been watching every round. You guys are definitely missing out. If not, this is just the start of the decade, 2020, and it's only going to get better from here. And I'm so excited to see the Western Conference Finals. And so after Game 7 tomorrow, I will be coming out with another podcast and giving my prediction on the Western Conference Finals and seeing who's going to come out of that and make the finals. And I'm excited for that because every round has just been pretty good, except for the Pacers and Heat. Pacers kind of got swept, so that was very sad to see. But other than that, every round has been really good. I'm excited to watch Eastern Conference Finals, and I'm excited to watch the Western Conference Finals. And we're just going to see who comes out of both and makes it to the finals. And I know the finals are going to be good this year, and I just can't wait. So we'll see who wins at the end of the day. And I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in and listening to my podcast today. There will be more videos coming out on the channel, basketball, football, podcast, and Muay Thai and things like that. So just stay tuned and have a great rest of your day, guys.